Series will be for your low poly project. Thought I'd start off by showing you my finished copy, and then I'll be building a new one with you for this tutorial. So it is all done in Adobe Illustrator, so if you don't have that already open, you can go ahead and do so now while I explain this. You'll see that there's only 5 total layers for this project, and in all honesty, a lot of them are kind of like repeats, but done so with the idea to preserve the original just in case. I'm going to hide the background here and kind of break it down by what you do. What we'll be doing today is setting up the file and then also importing our reference photo, or in this case, as you can see here, a stock photo. You'll be doing a triangle outline of this entire thing, of whatever you choose, will be broken down into simple little triangles, or aka polys, which is low poly. Then you have your poly grid, or in this case, just right here, poly. And this is where you can see everything I made is triangles. I can zoom in and show you. Oops. And you'll be able to see that it all is mapped to triangles. This part here is by far the longest part of the project, and you can become daunting at first, but once you hit the rhythm, I think you'll be okay. After you do that, you'll be on to the color. I don't know the full name. Probably it's color and poly, because you can still see my outlines there. Like when I zoom in, you'll see the pink outlines. I chose pink because you're going to be wanting to choose a color that stands out. And then I have everything colored. Then in my last one, I just have color right here, where you just do not see the poly grid anymore. This part here is crazy fast. We're talking like 5 seconds worth of work to get rid of that, where if this was done in, say, Sketchbook or Photoshop, this part would have been like 2 weeks worth of work for you guys. Instead, it's like 10 seconds. So while on the front end, you have a lot of meticulous work to do, in this part here, the coloring, and especially this part here, the just the color, it is lickety fast. And then last but not least, you'll have a background gradient as well, pretty fast and easy to do. So let's go ahead and set up a new file together. Once you have Illustrator open, go up to the very top left where it says File, and then hit New right here. Now, the beautiful thing about Illustrator is that all the file sizes can be enlarged at any point in time, but I would recommend that you do these settings because they'll scale correctly later. The width. You'll have to think about your photo. Mine is more long rectangle, so I'm going to set it up again as a long rectangle, but please feel free to swap the numbers if you need to. Make sure that it's inches, make sure that it's not pixels or anything else. The width is going to be 18 inches, IN for inches, and the height is going to be 12 inches. Something neat that I may have already mentioned in a different project is the orientation. Right here you can see it's more long ways. If I click this, you'll see that it swaps the numbers for me to make it tall. All right, up here, Untitled 1, that is the name of your file. What we're going to go with, and this is for grading purposes as well, is your first name, your last name, and then low poly. This will help you because when you save it, it'll all be there. Everything else by default in Illustrator should be good. Color mode CMYK, raster effects high 300, and preview mode default. Then you can go ahead and click create. Should end up with a white rectangle. FYI, if this thing doesn't open up, this is your layers. If you look right here where my mouse is on the right side of the screen, you should only have one at the moment, and it's just a white rectangle. Just in case you forgot to zoom in and zoom out based on when we are doing this project in comparison to other ones, there's 2 ways. One is bad, one is good. The bad one is the zoom tool right here, this magnifying tool. When you click that, the plus will zoom you in. I actually legit don't even know where the minus is. You could right click and then zoom out. That's insane. Let me just show you, I think, the better way. While you have any tool selected, if you hold down Command and hit minus, you will zoom out. And if you hold down Command and hit plus, you will zoom in. All right, a couple more steps for today in setting our file up. By now, you should have your research images ready to go, or your stock photos ready to go. What I'm going to do is just kind of drag Illustrator over a little bit. I grabbed it at the far right of the screen here, and then you can just kind of move it. This way it doesn't minimize the whole thing, but hopefully you can see parts of your desktop where your research images are. Here's the one that I'll be using for this tutorial with you guys, and all I'm going to do that I would ask that you do the same is find your image, click and drag it onto the white part of the screen right here, and you'll see that it comes in just like this. Unlike Photoshop, just in case we're used to Photoshop by now, you have to hold Shift when you scale the image. So go to one of the corner pockets here, hold down the Shift key, click and drag, and make your image bigger. Reminder with Illustrator, anything outside that black box that you're seeing right there, like right now her eyes are on it, anything outside of that will not show in the final print. It is just for you, the designer, but keep that in mind as you place your photo kind of where you want it. I don't know how small I want to go. I think I'm going to shoot for this. I think this is going to be a lot of work. Hands are not easy, and my other one had like 8 hands, so here we go again. You can do just a portrait. You could zoom into where it's just their face. You could do, a little bit of their body. I would recommend not doing a full body. I think it just is a obscene amount of work, and it's not worth it. Also, centering wise, you could place them kind of wherever you want. I'm going to go for a center position right here. And then you could just either, click off whatever you want. Enter will come up with a weird setting, so don't hit enter. I'm going to move my Illustrator back just to maximize my screen space. Open up my layer window now, right here, where it says layers, the 2 slices of cheese. And now where it says layer 1, we can give this a better name. Double click on the text where it says layer 1 and call that stock photo. STOCKPHOTO. And you can click off. Good thing with this is that we're done with this layer. Actually, we won't be editing it for a while. So the eyeball here is visibility. It hides or shows the layer. To the right of that in this blank spot is the lock. That's huge. Even if you don't have a layer selected in Illustrator, it sometimes will still select it for you unless you lock it. So go ahead and do that. And then we're ready to save, and next video we'll be starting our polygon grid. So go up to the top right here, save as. Make sure that it goes to your desktop. If it doesn't, just click this drop-down arrow right here and find your desktop. Any active projects should be saved on your desktop, and then clean them up later by putting them into your documents and stuff. It should come up as first name, last name, lowpoly.ai for Adobe Illustrator, and then you can hit save here in the bottom right. Click OK for all these other settings. They're all fine by default. Now I'm going to minimize Illustrator here and just kind of make sure. Yep, there it is. All right, guys. Take care. See you guys in the next video.